Alright guys, it is morning. You're probably wondering why I'm whispering. It's because it's really early in the morning. Check that over there. Oh boy. Okay. So I'm gonna try and bring my tripod today. And I'm going to try something. Now, I don't know if this is going to catch on or if this is like copying anybody. But I'm going to try this. So I'm just going to leave the camera always mounted to this, and when I'm just shooting normally, I'll hold it like this, and the camera will be out front here. And then when I'm shooting myself, I adjust it so that it's like this, and I hold the thing right there. And there you can see it's kind of somewhat selfie stick. So I'm gonna try that, and then of course I can just set it up for normal time-lapse shots. As you can see, got my UV3, got the charger for it. Things seem to be good. So I guess we're all ready. I just gotta get stuff on and then get out of here. So let's get going. Alright guys, so we're not at the first competition. I'm just switching cars and just waiting for the guy who's gonna come and drive us down to the competition. I'm just standing right here in the little part that leads to the annex. Just out those doors right there. And the annex are in the annex being, I don't know if you can see it out there, but that's the second auto shop. So pretty much just waiting right now. You should be here pretty soon. Here we are at the University of Waterloo. I think the place where we're going is off that way. So, sorry there was like the most minimalistic amount of footage. My camera is kind of running low on battery. Let me just turn it around here. So, yeah, let's get down there. Um, just packing everything up, getting everything ready, and yeah. As you can see, got the bumpers on, got all the batteries in and charging and all ready.
Are these the ones you've been using?
The laptop is charging. And yeah, that's basically it. So, I'll see you dudes tomorrow. Okay guys, so I am back. It is the next day at the first robotics competition. Here's the robot. Nothing has really changed since we were last here. I'm going to drive now, so I'll check back in after the driving. Alright, so just checking back in. Driving was pretty good, although I got pancakes. And as you can see, this little black cable right here came out, so we put some tape on it just so it holds. But yeah, other than that, pretty good. So, another match right now, so I'll be right back. Okay guys, so that's pretty much it for now. I did not get chosen our team did not get chosen for the playoffs. But other than that, pretty good time. So I'm going for lunch now, and I'll see you later. Okay guys, so there you have it. That is my entire time at the first robotics competition. Now, I know what you're thinking. That was really short, and there was almost no competition footage or anything like that. And that's mainly because I was the only person there who was driving. So you can see the problem, because I had to focus so much on driving that I pretty much had no time for competitions. It also kind of sucks, because if I could just bring my tripod into the driver's station and set it up where it's not in the way and have it recording, that would have been perfect. But of course, first has to have all these ridiculous rules. I understand why they have the rules, but you know, I mean, it would be nice to be able to, and I can maybe see why not. Why I couldn't, because maybe it does cause too much havoc to have a camera in the driver's station, because it's hard for people to get around. So let me go ahead and explain what had happened. So basically what had happened was, it starts out going from Lakeshore to the competition down in the Waterloo, and on the way there I do a really short time lapse. Not all the way there, but I didn't do it all the way there, mainly because the camera started flashing the low battery at me, and I was also worried about space. So I didn't, but I mean, I figured it would be enough for my purposes. So then we get there, and of course on the way, the guy who was driving us told us all about what happened when he brought the robot there the day before we went down. It was pretty annoying, because there was a lot that happened the day before we came. So in terms of that, it turned out that our bump hopper protruded too far out from the frame. Essentially, if you can envision this for a second, this happened. So if you can envision this for a second, this is our bumper right here. This is how far the hopper protruded out, and this is the frame. And essentially what happened was, nothing can protrude outside of the actual frame, so our hopper was protruding outside of the frame, so what we had to do was turn it around. Other problems that popped up were the fact that our bumper was a bit too big once it was turned around, and not the best for doing gears. So what we ended up doing was, there was another guy from another team that came over, and he said that he saw our design and said that it had the same problem as their design. So he decided that he would take our hopper back to his shop and use his plasma cutter to cut out a slot, so that instead of us driving backward and then lifting up the gear, we just drive up, lift the gear out, and then drive back. Finally, what had happened was on the day before the date we came was the problem with the inspection. Not only the bumpers and the sizing, but also the fact that we didn't have a student there the day that he had brought it in. So it turned out that in order to be field ready, you need a student there to sign the paper, which we did not have. So it turned out that he couldn't get the robot accepted in to play the game because there wasn't a student there. So he ended up just leaving it for the next day and having us do it tomorrow. And the next day, that's exactly what we did. We got there, we came to our pit, the inspector came over and took another look over at our robot again and ensured that everything was field worthy, and it turned out it was. So both me and the person who was driving us signed, and our robot was field worthy. Put a sticker on it, and we were good. Then started the competition, and in that, the qualification rounds. Now, I probably should have recorded a ton more of these, and I didn't. Now, I did record the first match that I was not in, but I have to say it probably went pretty good. Also, I forgot to mention that the opening ceremonies I recorded a little bit of, and after that, pretty much, yeah, that was basically the day. But there were also some troubles in the competitions. There was a lot of things that broke on our robot. For example, battery falls out and disconnects from the robot. Like, the lead comes out. So, like, mid-competition, battery falls out, lead comes out, we're stuck, we can't drive anywhere. So what we ended up doing was we had to have a bungee cord going from over top of the battery so it wouldn't come out. Also, our router cable came out. So what we ended up doing was taping that to the router so it wouldn't come out. And of course, also what was breaking a lot was our chute. And it really wasn't working all that well. I mean, it did work how we intended it to, but there were a few things about it that weren't ideal, like gear goes down the chute but goes down weirdly and falls on the robot, and of course rule set first has rules, which doesn't allow us to have more than one gear on the robot, so we ended up not being able to do anything because if you have more than 2 gears on your robot, penalty, you get points lost, which I find kind of ridiculous. That's probably one of the more ridiculous rules that First has for this competition. Also, what was working against us was our doors, because they were turned around, and if they open for the back, our gear falls down on the back, which we did not want to happen. So what we ended up doing was putting zip ties over it, but those zip ties would break. So eventually what we did was put rope around it, and then it seemed to work pretty good. Now, a problem did arise when we were on the red side, and the pegs were slightly higher on the red side, or, well, they weren't slightly higher, but the thing is, the blue side was perfectly straight, and some of the red side pins were kind of like bent. So that served a bit of an issue. What we ended up doing there was putting a block in underneath the gear so that it's slightly elevated, and it ended up still working for the blues and the reds, and we found that issue was solved. And then comes when we were choosing for the playoffs. So, if you dudes are wondering, no, we did not get chosen. I'm not surprised. Our robot is very limited in what we can do. We cannot climb or shoot balls. Neither is our robot really sturdy, as most of the other teams would have seen. And pretty much, yeah, our team was just not ideal to be in a playoff team. So really, we could have done a lot better this year. We could have built a lot better of a robot. However, we just went at it the completely wrong way. There was so much hesitation in the build process that we just didn't really get that much done. So I would say if I would change one thing about this year, it would be have a much smoother and differently planned out build process. Like, the minute we get the kit, we start building the frame. Then we split up into groups and work on the individual attachments for all the gears and wiffle balls and climbing. Now, if you dudes are wondering, this will not be the end of the first robotics competitions. Well, of course it isn't, because I'm not in grade 12, this is not the last year for me. There will be many more, but there is a competition next week. So, I am thinking I might record that, but I'm not sure. I probably will, because this one was just not ideal. So, I'm probably going to record that one next week, and pretty much, yeah. So, anyways, guys, hit that like button if you liked it, or hit the dislike button and suggest someone else for me to do. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you dudes in the next episode.